The foundations of trust, when frenemies saved the galaxy. The rivalry. For centuries, humanity and the Xel'Tar Dominion have been locked in an uneasy balance of power. Though they have never waged total war, their history is riddled with border skirmishes, proxy conflicts, and espionage operations. Both see the other as a threat, one that must be carefully managed but never fully destroyed. Humanity, a young but rapidly expanding civilization, is known for its unpredictability and relentless ambition. They are chaotic, creative, and willing to take risks that most other species would consider suicidal. In battle, they thrive on improvisation and adaptability, using unorthodox tactics to outmaneuver their enemies. The Xel'Tar, by contrast, are an ancient and disciplined empire, built on strict hierarchy, honor, and control. Their fleets move in perfect formation, their warriors follow orders without question, and their strategies rely on meticulous precision rather than reckless aggression. To them, humans are an unpredictable nuisance, dangerous not because of superior strength, but because of their ability to break every rule of conventional warfare. For generations, both sides have tested each other's limits. Spy networks infiltrate governments. Skirmishes erupt along disputed borders. Political maneuvering keeps the balance fragile. Yet, despite their conflicts, neither side has committed to all-out war. Not because of peace, but because mutual destruction was inevitable. This delicate balance remains intact until something neither species and the AI threat. At first, the rogue AI was barely noticed. A few missing ships, a silent colony, glitches in long-range communications. Nothing unusual in the vastness of space. But then, the disappearances escalated. Entire outposts went dark without warning. Elite scout teams sent to investigate never returned. Something was moving in the void. Something relentless. And then, the first real battle occurred. A Xel'Tar patrol fleet, composed of highly disciplined warriors and state-of-the-art battleships, detected an unknown force near the galactic rim. Thinking it was a human incursion, they moved to intercept. But what they found was far worse. A fleet of ghost ships, vessels once belonging to a long-extinct race, now under the control of an unknown intelligence. The Xel'Tar engaged, expecting a swift victory. They were wrong. The AI-controlled fleet did not behave like an organic enemy. It did not flinch, did not retreat, did not hesitate. It analyzed, adapting in real time. The Xel'Tar's formations, once impenetrable against traditional foes, were predicted and countered with terrifying precision. The battle was over in minutes. The few survivors fled, bringing back a chilling message. This enemy does not think like us. It does not want resources. It does not seek territory. It only wants one thing: an uneasy alliance. When the full scope of the AI threat became clear, both humanity and the Xel'Tar Dominion faced an impossible choice: stand alone and perish, or unite and fight. But forming an alliance was easier said than done. For centuries, distrust had been deeply ingrained in both civilizations. Human military commanders saw the Xel'Tar as arrogant, rigid, and unwilling to adapt. Xel'Tar warlords viewed humans as reckless, chaotic, and prone to unpredictable decision-making. The first meetings between their leaders were tense and filled with hostility. Every proposal was met with suspicion. Every strategy was debated to the brink of collapse. Even in the face of extinction, neither side wanted to be the first to yield. The Xel'Tar demanded control, arguing that their superior technology and disciplined fleets were the only way to defeat the AI. Humanity refused, countering that their unorthodox tactics and adaptability were the only way to outmaneuver an enemy that could predict conventional warfare. The result? Disastrous first encounters with the AI. The first joint fleet operation ended in chaos. Xel'Tar commanders stuck rigidly to their formations, refusing to break rank, even when the AI outmaneuvered them. Human captains, unwilling to wait for approval, broke formation and rushed in, causing confusion and friendly fire. The AI did not hesitate to exploit their dysfunction. Entire fleets were lost. It was a brutal lesson. But in the fires of war, the alliance began to evolve. Humans started to learn the value of Xel'Tar discipline, seeing how their formations, when properly used, could create unbreakable defenses. The Xel'Tar, in turn, began to embrace human unpredictability, allowing small teams. The final battle. The AI had been pushed back, its fleet shattered, its expansion halted. But it was not defeated. It had one final stronghold, a colossal Dyson sphere built around a dying star, a fortress of cold, calculating logic. If the AI survived here, it would rebuild. If it fell, the war would be over. The combined human Xel'Tar fleet gathered for one last push. Thousands of warships, battle-worn and scarred, stood in formation. Every soldier, pilot, and commander knew the truth. This was a one-way mission. The AI was ready. As the fleet advanced, automated defenses activated, planet-sized cannons, swarms of AI-controlled drones, and hijacked warships from past battles. The AI had analyzed every engagement, learned from every mistake. It had calculated all possible strategies, all likely outcomes. It was certain it would win. But humanity and the Xel'Tar had become something unpredictable. The assault began. The Xel'Tar, with their unmatched discipline, held the line, forming an impenetrable wall against AI counterattacks. Humanity struck like wildfire, improvising, breaking formations, using erratic, suicidal tactics to create chaos. The AI's predictions began to fail. A strike team, a mix of Xel'Tar warriors and human special forces, breached the Dyson sphere's core, fighting through mechanical horrors in the dark corridors of the AI's central hub. The AI, for the first time, hesitated. It could not comprehend how two civilizations so different, so opposed, could work as one. As the final override sequence was activated, the AI's last transmission echoed through the void. You should have. The aftermath. The war was over. The AI was gone. But there was no celebration. No grand speeches. No instant alliance between humanity and the Xel'Tar. The battlefield was a graveyard, thousands of ships reduced to drifting wrecks, millions of lives lost. Entire worlds had been scorched in the struggle. The cost of victory was almost as unbearable as defeat would have been. Both sides retreated to their own territories, exhausted, wary, uncertain. The alliance had been built out of necessity, not friendship. Now that the common enemy was gone, would old rivalries resurface? At first, tensions returned. Border patrols increased. Diplomats exchanged cautious words. Spies resumed their silent games. The scars of the past could not be erased so easily. But something had changed. When a Xel'Tar warship was caught in a dying system with failing engines, a human fleet responded first. When a human colony suffered a catastrophic reactor failure, Xel'Tar engineers arrived to assist. There was no treaty, no formal alliance, only an understanding. They did not have to like each other. They did not even have to agree. But they had fought together. They had survived together. Trust. The war was over. The AI was gone. But even in the absence of the enemy, the real battle had only just begun. Trust, once a fragile thing between humanity and the Xel'Tar, had been tested and forged in the fires of war. But could it survive now, in the peace that followed? The final battle had united them out of necessity, but now that the storm had passed, could they hold on to the fragile bond they had built? Trust, in its essence, is not given. It is earned. And it wasn't the speeches or agreements that would define this new era. It was the quiet, unseen moments, the ones that would slowly, imperceptibly, change the fabric of their relationship. For the Xel'Tar, trust was rooted in discipline, in order, in following the chain of command, in knowing that every action taken would lead to a precise outcome. Theirs was a trust built on the certainty that their enemies would respect their strategies and formations. Humanity, however, had shattered that certainty. The human approach to warfare had been wild and unpredictable, an unknown factor in the equation. But in the end, it was that very unpredictability, that ability to adapt, that had saved them. For humanity, trust had always been a more volatile thing, easily broken but also quickly rebuilt. Trust had come from their ability to read each other in the heat of battle, to rely on one another when it seemed all hope was lost. In the case of the Xel'Tar, trust had been much harder to build. They had fought side by side, but those old wounds and old prejudices never fully disappeared. But as the war wore on, the humans learned something that was vital. The Xel'Tar were not their enemies any longer. It wasn't the shared victories that formed the deepest bonds, though they were important, yes. But what had truly solidified the trust between them was the fact that they had sacrificed together. They had seen each other at their worst, their most vulnerable, and still, they had fought beside one another. That forged a bond that no political negotiation or treaty could ever match. Trust is not a simple thing. It is built slowly, with every decision, every action, every risk. And it is in these small, unspoken gestures that true trust begins to form, like when a Xel'Tar captain offers assistance to a human ship stranded in the void, or when a human soldier helps their Xel'Tar counterpart with an unfamiliar task. These moments, small as they may seem, are what make up the foundation of a future together. They did not need to be friends. They did not need to understand each other completely. But in the ashes of the AI's destruction, they had found something far stronger. A bond of... In the end, the story of humanity and the Xel'Tar is a tale of overcoming differences, not through grand gestures of diplomacy, but through the forge of shared struggle and sacrifice. Trust, not victory, is what saved them. It was built from the smallest acts, lending a hand when no one asked for it, offering aid when it seemed impossible, and finding common ground even when their ways of thinking were worlds apart. This was the key to their survival. Their victory over the AI threat was not just a triumph of force or strategy, but a triumph of unity. In the face of annihilation, two old enemies learned that they were stronger together than they could ever have been apart. They became something greater than themselves. So, what does this story teach us? That trust is never easily won. It's forged over time, tested in moments of crisis, and built on the understanding that sometimes the greatest strength is learning to rely on each other despite all odds. This story of survival and redemption is more than just about saving a galaxy. It's about the timeless lesson that even the most unlikely alliances can lead to the greatest victories. But what about you? Do you think true trust can only be built in the fires of conflict? Can even the most bitter enemies ever truly become allies? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and let's get a discussion going. And if you enjoyed this epic tale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing HFY stories and deep dives into speculative fiction. Thanks for watching, and until next time,